What's up, guys? Bryant Jr. here. So, it's been a while since I've done a tutorial, but here we go. This tutorial, we're going to go over how to model glasses using NURBS. I know I've been using a lot of polygons in previous tutorials, and that's awesome. And NURBS are also awesome for certain things, and this tutorial is going to show you how they're very, very powerful if you use them properly. So, I haven't recorded this, so I have nothing flashy to show you yet. We're actually going to be building this together from scratch. If you need to rewind this a few times, feel free to do so. And if you have any questions, make sure you comment below. So without further ado, let's get started. First thing first, reference images. I pulled up a few reference images online of what we're going to be creating, and I want to create a few of these glasses here. May seem daunting, but we'll realize that once I start to show you how to use them properly, it'll actually be pretty quick, pretty easy. So, I went online. The first thing I need to know is scale. How large are these glasses supposed to be? So, I use this martini glass, or this cocktail glass, whatever you want to call it. And I searched online and found a very, very similar glass of Williams-Sonoma, looked at the dimensions, and found that the height is 5 3/4 inches high. That's all I really need. So with that information, I'm able to at least size this particular glass with what the real world size is, and then the rest of the glasses will be obviously correct. Alright. So let's go back to Maya, and I'm going to set up my project. I'm going to show you how I set up my project. I'm going to assume that some people have not used Maya before, so I'm going to go somewhat slow without going utterly slow. So if you can, try to keep up, and let's get started. So back to Maya. First thing we're going to do is set up our project. So I'm going to go to File, scroll down to Project Window, and here I'm going to name this project Glasses. Let's go ahead and save this in Projects, and we're going to name this get rid of that. Go back into Tutorials and just select that. Now I'm going to name it Glasses and click Accept. Awesome. The first thing I'm going to do now is save my project. What I normally do is, because I'm sort of anal about organization, I name my first folder Modeling, because if I'm doing shaders or lighting or animation, I need to know, I need to be able to quickly get to whatever iteration of that stage I want to, without having to search through a lot of, glasses underscore 0001, glasses underscore 0047, and so forth. This allows me to know what I'm working on, when I worked on it, how to get where I need to go. So in the modeling folder, I'm going to name this Glasses Modeling 01. This is my naming convention. I feel like it helps me know precisely what I'm working on and what stage of the process I'm working on and what version of this particular file it is. I think it just keeps me organized and I can easily find what I need to. Okay, so once it saves, we'll see the name of the file here and our breadcrumbs there. Awesome. Now is the time to import this image into Maya as a reference image. In order to do that, I'm going to press and release spacebar, go to my front quadrant and press and release spacebar, and I'm going to go to View, scroll down to Image Plane, and Import Image. So source images is where I'm going to be saving my image from the web. So the first thing I need to do is go to the web. I'm going to save as. I'm going to go to Documents, Maya, Projects, Tutorials, Glasses, put this in source images. I'm going to make a folder called reference images. And save. Awesome. Now go back to Maya, and here we have our folder called reference images that we just created, and our image of the glassware. Okay, awesome. Now we have our image in 3D. If I right click, it's a single plane, image plane in 3D, which is perfectly what we want. Now I need to make sure that my unit size is in inches, because if you remember or recall, this particular Williams-Sonoma glass is measured in inches, 5 3/4 inches to be exact. So let's go to our preferences and make sure that our measurement units are in inches also. So to do that, you go to Windows, Settings, Preferences. Now there's a lot of options here, but the only column that we need for this particular case is Settings. Click on Settings, and here is where our working units are located. I'm going to change this from centimeters to inches. I'm not sure if you saw that, but you'll see the grid in the viewport update. So if I go back to centimeters, that's the size of centimeters, and when I switch to inches, they're larger. Awesome. So now I'm going to save. Now I know that each square is 1 inch, and if I go back, I know that this glass is supposed to be 5 3/4 inches. Alright, so 5 3/4 is what I'm looking to make this particular glass. Alright, first thing I'm going to do is, let's see, change my opacity here just so that I can see the grid. Awesome. And I'm going to get my scale tool here. I could also hit the R key for Rob. I'm just kidding. It's the R key though. So R key, and I'm going to scale this up 5 3/4. I'm mainly paying attention to this cocktail glass here. So let's go up, and 1 2 3 4 5. Alright, I'm going to get my move tool, move this guy up, and I want my martini glass to be in the middle. So let's say 1 2 3 4. Got a little more scaling to do. I'm going to go up a bit more. 1 2 3 4 5, and a little bit more. There we go. And I'm going to say that that's good. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try my best to make this this vertical line here line up with the middle of that cocktail glass. That's very important. Alright, I'm going to scroll down a little bit so that I make sure that the bottom of this glass is sort of somewhat in the location of my horizontal axes. Awesome. So now that I have that, I am good to go for the martini glass. I'm going to go over into my channel box. By default, you're usually in your attribute editor. I'm going to go to my channel box, and I'm going to create a new layer and put this reference image on a new layer so that I won't select it by accident. So I can lock it so that I won't select it by accident. So with the reference image selected, I'm going to click on this button that is create a new layer and assign selected objects. Click on that. And if I click this V key, which stands for visibility, if I check this off, it clicks the visibility of that particular layer off. So I can just isolate this particular layer by assigning this geometry to the layer. Awesome. I'm going to name my layer by clicking on this button beside the name and name this reference image. Layer. Okie doke. So that's pretty much good to go. Now what I normally do is I will make this referenced. If you notice, I toggle through. If you click on it once, it's T, which is templated, which means you're only going to see a bounding box of it. I actually need to see the texture, so that's not going to work for me. If I click it again, this is reference mode. Now I can still see it, but I can't select it. So no matter what I do, no matter what I drag on, I won't select it. If I click it again and it's off, now it's selectable. If I click and drag over it, I can now move it again. Alright, so I'm going to go back to reference, click it a couple of times, and now I can't move it. So now when I'm building my geometry around using this reference image, I'm not going to accidentally select it by accident. Okay, so we're good to go, guys. Now we are ready to start making one of these glasses. So in order to start, I'm going to zoom in a bit here. I always start from the bottom and work my way around the glass this way, right? What we're going to be creating is what's called the profile. The profile could be also synonymously viewed as the silhouette. So I'm mainly paying attention to what this silhouette is for this particular glass. And that is what I'm going to be creating. All right, now the first tool I'm going to use for this is the curve CV tool. So in order to go to that tool, I'm going to go to Create, Curve Tool, CV Curve Tool. This is the one I want. This gives me a little crosshair. I'm going to zoom in a little closer. And I'm going to click my first point at 0, 0, 0 origin. Basically where all of these lines meet. That's going to be my middle. Click on it once, and I get a point. Alright, I'm going to hold shift to constrain my point so that it's completely on this axis. So I click once, twice, and let's go one more time. There. Okay. Now I'm going to back up once more and bring it in about here. Okay. Now, just a fundamental rule of thumb: when you're creating anything with corners, it's good to create those corners using 3 points. So 1 point here, 1 point on the corner itself, and then another point up here. This is going to give you this nice little curve here. So you want 3 points. That's going to give you a really nice chamfer. Awesome. I'm going to continue holding shift to keep my orientation straight. 1, 2, 3. So that I also get that nice curve there. And we're just going to kind of come here. Every curve, every corner gets 3 points. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, so now we're just gonna keep going up, just basically following the lines here. I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 3. And 1, 2, 3. Awesome. And we're gonna come up here. And this is fairly straight, so I can kind of get a lot of them going there. 1, 2, 3. And here I need to create this nice curve there. So we're gonna do 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. and I can probably get away with coming in. I'll come all the way in there, and then basically create these curves, shift select, and end on that vertical axis. Now, once I've gone around my geometry, I hit enter and it turns green. Now, if I hide my reference image on the layer that I created, I'll end up with this. It should resemble the silhouette for the glass on one side. We're going to be using a revolve operation, which allows us to only have to use model one side. So now I'm just going to clean up my curves a bit by right clicking, going to control vertex, and I'm just going to sort of clean these up a bit. They could be a little smoother. Alright, and we're just going to sort of smooth them out a bit, and I think that looks good. So something like that. Alright, now we're ready for step 2. I'm going to select the curve profile, and for this I'm going to go back to my perspective view. So with our curve selected, make sure we're in the modeling menu set, and we're going to go to surfaces and revolve. When we do that, what it does is it sweeps this curve around the 0 to 0 axes, meaning it's going to go all the way around. It's basically extruding that curve all the way around. And we end up with this. Pretty cool, right? One glass, almost done. One thing to look for is in a lot of the revolve features, if you're not 100% on the 0, 0, 0 axes, you'll get this little black hole. A way to get around that is to select just the curve, go to control vertex, select that, and just move it out slightly, and that will solve that problem. Go back to object mode, and looks like I was pretty good on the inside, although I could probably move that over a bit. Zoom in a bit and move it over. Awesome. So there we have it, guys. Cocktail glass with NURBS, no polygons here, and you can see the isoparms here that are very clean, very nice, very neat. And that's one. So now I can, okay, I'm not going to deform this the way it should be. I'm going to show you guys something that's really cool. So with my curve still selected, if I go back to my front view and click on vertices, control vertices, I can still move this entire glass by moving those points. So if I wanted to make a smaller glass, I can make a smaller glass, like a little goblet. Or if I wanted to make a really extreme martini glass, I could go there. But this is the power of NURBS. You can do this and everything is still smooth and intact. So just wanted to show you guys that. That's one of the reasons why I would use NURBS to create glasses like this versus using box modeling, polygons. Alright, so we're going to select that, put it on this new layer, name this martini glass layer, and I'm going to put NURBS. Make sure I spell martini correctly. And there we go. I'm going to change the name of it to martini glass. Awesome. So we have one glass down, and let's make another one. The next glass we're going to make is this little guy beside it. So I'm going to go back to my front view. I'm going to unreference it so that I can select it again, so that I can move it over. So now I'm going to move it over to about there. Okay. And I'm going to reference it again so that I can't select it anymore. I'm going to select my curve for the martini glass, and I'm going to put it on its own layer. Name this martini glass curve layer. Once again, I'm really big on organization. I don't really like to have to search for things for hours, so this is how I love to work. Alright, so now we have the reference image layered or referenced again. So now we're ready to go. Once again, we're going to go to Create, Curve Tools, see the Curve tool. Once again, I'm going to start from the bottom. There. Do 2. Remember our 3 rule. 1, 2, 3. This is going to be a little easier. It doesn't have a lot of curves like the cocktail glass did. So we're going to go up. This does have a little lip, which means I need to do my 3 control point rule. 1, 2, 3. And then 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now I'm going to come in here and go 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to hold my shift to make sure that's straight across. And I'm going to press enter, and now I have this profile curve. Awesome. I'm going to bring the reference image back so that I can move this closer to the axes, y-axis, like so, and also the bottom. There we go. Awesome. Now the only thing we have left to do is revolve it. So I'm going to go to Object Mode, select it, go to Surfaces, and Revolve. And here we are. Now, if I wanted for my bottom to be a little rounder, that's not a problem. I can once again go back to my curve and bring this curve in and bring this curve up. So that gives me just a smoother, a rounder corner. So something like that, and something like that. Really good, really awesome. Okay, and my lip here looks pretty good. Okay, glass number 2 down. Let's do the same thing with putting these on separate layers also. I'm going to select my martini glass since I like my naming convention. I'm going to Control C to select that. And with my, we're going to call this glass number 2. I'm going to select that, add it to a new layer, select this, and we'll say glass 02 NURBS layer, and do that. Now that's on its own layer. I'm going to select my NURBS curve, my martini glass curve layer. I'm going to copy that and put it onto this new layer and make this glass 02 curve layer. You don't have to do this. I just do it because it's for me it's easier to make changes, go back and change things. Okay, so those are the first 2 glasses. Obviously we can go and use the same technique for all of these. I'm going to let you guys do that. I'm going to actually place this reference image in the comment section. I'm going to create a link, post a link to it, so you can actually go and go straight to the Google search and find it, download it, do the same steps that I did, create every single one of these glasses, and if you want to email them to me, you can email them to, or actually post them on my Facebook page. That would be great. Illustrator Rob Bryant Jr. So it's facebook.com/Illustrator Rob Bryant Jr. And post them there. I would like to see your work. I would like to see how you did it, you know. And if you have any short videos of you working on it, post those as well. Now, to conclude this, obviously we want to make sure our presentation is great. So I'm going to select both of these glasses and just move them sort of off to the side. All right, and I'm just going to do some really basic materials. So like this, assign a shader. I'm going to use a blend, and we're going to scroll all the way to the bottom and just add some transparency to it, like so. And I'm going to name my material glass matte. So we have that, and if I right click on that, assign existing material, glass matte, we now have our two glasses. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to once again post them in the comment section below this video. And if you haven't subscribed as of yet, what are you waiting for?